Please don't use them as coasters, guys, because I will like become a werepanda and come and haunt you and beat you with a bamboo stick or something. Hey guys, this is Kim. Welcome back to Fables, and in this video I will be sharing with you the 4 bonus wildcards from the Kickstarter edition of Way of the Panda Tarot. A lot of you have been messaging me and just asking me like, oh, are you gonna write blog posts about this, these cards, like what do they mean? How did you visualize, how did you concept them, like how can we, like what are the interpretations for these cards? And I do have plans to write detailed blog posts regarding each card. So far I've completed the Caffeinated Panda, and then the rest of these cards, I have the outline ready, but I just haven't fleshed out the blog post yet, and apologize for the delay. I really wanted to finish these before I shipped everything out, so when the decks are shipped out, people can just go onto my website and look at it, but I just got a little overwhelmed with packaging and shipping and everything. It just didn't get done in time. But anyway, they will be up, like all the detailed descriptions will be up on my website, so that's a promise. It'll be up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hoping to get it done in 2 weeks, but they will be up, I promise. So these wildcards, if you have the Kickstarter edition, like the 3 wildcards, the Caffeinated Panda, Stargazing, and the Witchy Panda, these 3 cards are only available in the Kickstarter edition. So if you have the Dream edition, you will only have the Dream Space card. If you have the Kickstarter edition, you'll have these 3 cards, and also this card. So Kickstarter edition is not available at the moment. I still have a small quantity of decks left, and my plans for them are they're going to be available maybe through some giveaway contest on my social media, or they're going to become available again as like a limited edition for like a slightly higher price during special occasions. But for now, since I just mailed out the Kickstarter decks, they're like off the shelves for now. But there are like a small quantity left, so if you're collecting or if you're looking forward to getting these decks, just stay tuned because they will become available down the road, but just not now. So yeah, Panda wildcards. So if you want to check out the blog post that I've written for Caffeinated Panda, you can go to fablesdan.com/panda wildcards. I'll leave the link on the screen so you can take a look at it, and also in the description below. But let me just start by kind of just introducing you to the idea of wildcards or extra cards, because they're kind of outside the tarot system. So I imagine some of you might be wondering, like, how could we use them, or what are they for, etc. So number one, a good way to use the wildcards is just really shuffle them with the rest of the deck and just use them as like a bonus oracle card, or just kind of as part of the deck. So if you do a spread something, you might get like 2 of Pentacles, you might get the Emperor, and then you might get the Caffeinated Panda, and you would just interpret it as like a regular card as part of the deck. You would just kind of channel your intuition. You might notice there are symbols and motifs on the card, or you might kind of follow the references and the interpretations that I personally came up with for these cards, which I will tell you in a second later on in this video. So that's the first thing you can do, just kind of use it as part of the deck. And second way you can use the wild cards is actually pick them out. You can use them to do ritual and intention work. So for example, if you are really trying to manifest a big project, a dream project, if you're really trying to channel all the imagination and creativity, you might pick out the Dream Space Panda and pick out this card, put it on your altar. You can do some altar work with it, ritual work with it, magic with it. You can also just leave it on top of your tarot spread to kind of just like focus your intention on whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you can use these to represent your intention. You can use these to represent your focus, to channel energy and channel your magic. So that would be another way you can utilize these cards. And another way to utilize wild cards is to kind of use them as significators, to use them as a card that represents you in a reading. So for example, for me, I would pick out the Caffeinated Panda because that's literally me. I have a cup of tea right there, so that's my chosen source of caffeine. And I'm just surrounded by technology all the time, like as I'm editing videos and writing blog posts or updating my social media, etc. So I'm doing like career or work readings for Fables for my business. I'm gonna pick out this card as a significator to represent me, and then I would draw cards to surround this card, and then I would interpret the spread kind of in relation to this card and also whatever cards that come up. So you can use these cards as significators. And what else? I think those 3 are kind of like the main ways you can utilize these cards. And just don't use them as coasters. I mean, I remember like jokingly making a video like, if you are not hurting anybody, you can just use tarot in whatever way you wish, but please don't use them as coasters, guys, because I will like become a were-panda and come and haunt you and beat you with a bamboo stick or something. I don't know. So yeah, those are 3 ways that you can utilize the bonus wild cards. And yeah, so with that said, let's get into like the specific definitions and the meanings of these cards. Again, these are just kind of like how I came up with these cards and how I visualize these cards and what these cards can mean based on the symbolism that I kind of created. So this really depends on how you personally relate to the card, how you want to engage with the card. So this is kind of just like for reference, right? It's like you can just look at this video and the blog posts are going to be coming up for ideas and to contextualize some of your ideas, or just, you know, for inspiration. Like this is not absolute. These are not the absolute definitions. It's not like you get this card, this is exactly what it means. So these are wild cards, right? They're meant to be wild, and they're meant to be very fluid, and they're meant to engage your intuition and represent certain parts of you, or just kind of represent certain messages that are coming across through the symbolism or images from the card. So yeah, so this is just for your reference. This is not anything. I'm not like, you must follow this video and must follow the definitions of these cards or die. Totally not the case. So yeah, so that's the first thing I want to say. So let's start with the Caffeinated Panda. So again, I already have a blog post up about this. If you want to like read through the detailed description of this card, you can just go check out the blog post and just have it handy when you're doing readings. But the Caffeinated Panda, so some of the light attributes, the positive attributes, or some of the strengths from this card would be, number 1, caffeinated beverages and snacks. So as a caffeine loving culture, we just can't go on about our day without our cup of coffee or cup of tea, and sometimes it's a nice thing to have when we're working, like have a little snack nearby, have something to cheer us up, something to boost our productivity and mood and energy. So when you draw this card, it could be just telling you that you need to make yourself a cup of tea, or slow down and relax, enjoy like a little thing, like something, anything. Like it doesn't even need to be like a caffeinated beverage. It could be like salad. It could be something that represents like a little energy boost that in your workflow. So that's the first thing it could represent. It could also represent creative and productive spaces, because this panda obviously looks like it's in some kind of like bamboo Starbucks and it's working away. Maybe he's editing his YouTube video, or maybe he's doing like a client reading. He's also checking like his social media. Who knows? So it's like very, you know, has that sort of like working at a cafe, getting shit done sentiment. So when you get this card and you're asking something about work, it could mean that you need to maybe pay attention to your environment. What can you do to make wherever you are productive space? It doesn't mean you have to go out to a cafe, but it might mean that you may have to maybe arrange your desk, or make sure the flow is good, or make sure that, you know, you're in an environment that makes you feel productive. So that's another thing. So another light attribute for Caffeinated Panda is technology and gadgets. As you can see, laptops and cell phones, and also headphones. So if you read into that symbolism, ooh, why is it out of focus? Okay, it's back. If you read into that symbolism, it's really talking about like how you can utilize the little things, or just utilize any technology to make your life easier, right? If you need to download an app, if you need to get like a Fitbit, if you need to, like this doesn't need to pertain to work, right? Any kind of gadgets or technology, it could be a spoon or anything that could help you get your shit done. Anything that can, any technology or gadgets that you could utilize to you know, to basically just make life easier. So when you get this card, it could be asking you to kind of look into like, maybe your apps need updating. Maybe there's an app that solves your money problems. Maybe there's an app that helps you take better photos, etc. Maybe you need to upgrade your phone. But please don't use this card as an excuse to go binge shopping. So yeah, and last but not least, another light attribute for Caffeinated Panda is maybe pointing at your admin and social media engagement. If you're a business owner, if you rely on your social media to bring in your audience, to connect with your audience, etc. So this could be pointing at, you know, you need to take care of that side of things, or there's some work to be done, or you know, yeah. What is that? That was my phone. Okay. So these are light attributes. Now the shadow attributes are really the light attributes kind of taken to an extreme, or taken to an unhealthy level, right? So The first shadow is obviously being addicted to caffeine, or having an addiction or having small unhealthy habits, right, such as caffeine, or being too addicted to social media, spending too much time on in front of a screen, watching too much TV, watching too much Netflix, or relying too much on technology, etc. So I think small doses of those things, and when they're used well, and when we are consciously and intentionally using them for the benefit of our workflow or whatever, all good. But at the same time, we need to pay attention, so we don't get too addicted to them. So that's one. And another thing is, social media can be really distracting. It can make us really anxious and even very neurotic. So these things, all these distractions, could represent the things in our lives that are distracting us, that are costing us our focus, making us tired or relentless, or stressed out, etc. So this card could be telling you to look at the stressors in your life, and then just how to go back, how to go with the flow and not get distracted by all these little noises and things around us. And another shadow attribute of this card would be time to clean your room. Maybe there's a lot of clutter, or maybe you're just feeling extra lazy, you're not taking out of the trash, etc. Kind of just little things that really stop the flow of your life and really just jamming your cluttering your space, etc. Because little things do matter when it comes to overall how you feel when you're working, your mood, right? Your environment affects your mood, your food affects your mood, everything affects your mood. So little things might be kind of bogging you down that you're not aware of, so this card is telling you to take care of that. Okay, so that's the Caffeinated Panda, and that was a little long. I was hoping to do snippets, but I wanted to explain a little bit too. So second card is Stargazing Panda. So I originally created this card to represent the stargazing folks out there who practice tarot. So by that I mean you practice astrology, you combine astrology with the use of tarot, and you're a stargazer, and you're also a card slinger. So this card was really created originally to represent the folks out there who practice tarot and astrology. And if you look at it from a symbolic perspective, so that's the first thing, right? Astrological nerdery. If you're into astrology, drawing this card could mean that you could it could set the tone for a spread, right? If this pops up in a spread, you could be you might need to look at the astrological associations more. It might be telling you to do more astrological studies or interpret certain cards in an astrological manner, or this could be your significator. You could be doing studying into astrology and tarot and how to combine the two. So this card could be just kind of signifying that. So that's the first light attribute. This could also mean a connection with the divine, right? So the act of stargazing, looking up into the heavens and looking up into the sky, is sort of like a symbolic act, and it's depicting the relationship that we have with the divine. The idea of faith, the idea of divine trust, the idea of having a connection with something higher above us, or something that's all around us, something that's unseen but present. So there's also that, and this leads into spiritual questioning, right? When you're looking at the sky, there's also this act of could represent the act of seeking. You're looking for answers in the stars. You're trying to determine your fate, or you're trying to demystify, I don't know, you're trying to understand and explore what it means to be alive, or what it means to be something, what it means to be happy, etc. So there's the an act of seeking, right? If you look at the telescope over here, right, it's the act of seeking, the act of looking, and the act of searching. So that could be a symbolic act, depending on what your question is. This could also signify esoteric study, right? You're looking into the mysteries, you're exploring the mysteries, you're looking into maybe studying into the occult. So I'm not saying astrology is a cult. I'm actually not not really an expert in astrology or occultism, but I'm just saying it's an act of searching, an act of exploring in the distinguished field of study. So it doesn't need to be astrology, even though this is clearly stargazing, but it could also be other disciplines of established the history of the occult or something. So there's that. So shadow attributes of the card would be disconnection, right? Because we talked about spiritual and divine connection and energetic connection. The shadow attributes of this card would obviously be disconnecting from that, maybe feeling isolated, feeling a little, having like an existential crisis, feeling like you don't have all the answers, you don't know where to look for the answers, you're by yourself, you don't really know how to cope with yourself. So this could represent a sense of disconnection. This could also represent a lack of practical action. You're just looking, right? You may be doing too much shadow working, you might be doing too much searching, too much exploring, too much looking, but you're not going anywhere. You might just be standing there and just looking. I think there is a place and time for that in our lives. We need to just take pause and look at where we're going and try to find the answers that we seek, but it needs to be coupled with action. So this card could be calling you out on just not moving and thinking too much and trying to find when you need to like get up and start moving. And another shadow attribute would be having stiller excuses, right? It's like when you have this sort of vision, trying to connect with the cosmos or whatever, I think it's really easy to fall prey to that kind of language. You know, you're not lazing around, you're not, you know, sabotaging yourself, you're trying to like puncture the veil of the universe or something. So, you know, you're just like very good at looking for grand excuses to not do what you're supposed to do or not take up responsibility and obligation for who you are, what you're meant to be and what you're meant to be doing, etc. So that is the Stargazing Panda. So the next card is the Witchy Panda. And like the Stargazing Panda, I created this card to represent the folks out there who are witches, who are of the witchy persuasion, who identifies as a witch, who practice all kinds of amazing witcheries. And this card is meant to represent a group of people that intersect with the world of tarot, which is very connected with the world of witches. So I'm not a witch. I personally don't practice any paganism or Wicca, etc. I just have like a deep appreciation and respect for anyone. You know, a lot of my friends are witches, you know, but I'm not really a witch. I just like, I'm always like it's like I'm like an enthusiastic tourist, or just like a tourist that's been to like the Kingdom of Witches for like, or the Queendom of Witches for like all the time, but just not living there. Yeah, so some of the light attributes and associations of this card is obviously spells and magic and ritual work. I think anything that is connected with the witchy world, right? Spells and magic, energy work and healing, ritual and connection, and spiritual, any spiritual bling like crystals or charms or bracelets, etc. So I think all together, this is really just drawing out all of the amazing practices of being a witch, and how you use like rituals and spells to kind of guide your intention to manifest, to create something in the world, and also to work with natural elements, to really have a communion and connection with nature, you know, with herbs or incense, etc. As you can see, there's like crystals depicted there, incense, and there's a bundle of sage, and then there's like candles, etc. So all of these, like, you know, like just utilizing tools and whatever that you resonate with to create the intention and outcome that you want. So you know, basically just like being an awesome witch. So that's the kind of all the light attributes, and the shadow attributes are really just a reverse side of that. And I wrote down, you know, are you a witch? Are you witchy, or are you your witchy things? And also the idea of spiritual bypassing, and also the idea of misusing or misunderstanding power. So I think my understanding of how this card could be reversed, because, you know, I'm not a witch, so I'm actually looking forward to folks who identify as witchy and how they would personally engage with this card. So if you are witchy, if you're like of the witchy persuasion, please comment or message me and just let me know what your experiences are with this card. But I think some of the shadow attributes for this card and what this card could symbolically represent when it comes to the shadow elements would be really just misusing and misunderstanding what power is. You know, you may be placing too much emphasis on your spiritual bling. Maybe you think like having the right crystals and the right alignment of crystals is everything, and you don't really regard yourself as a source of power. Like, you kind of just rely on these external things to play a role in your ritual or in your life, and you see them as this channel of power, but you're kind of neglecting your own sense of power, and you may be wondering like, why, how come things are not working out, etc. And there's also the idea of spiritual bypassing, which is maybe you're using rituals, like just because you burn a bundle of sage doesn't mean you're faced up to your demons on the inside. I think like we need to be very clear when it comes to like the physical properties of things, and also just like coupling it with strong intentions and emotional awareness, because I think that's when the most magic can happen, is when you're like aligned, right? So there's the idea of spiritual bypassing. Make sure you're doing all the inner work and not just like surrounding yourself with a heap of crystals and essential oils and thinking that, oh yeah, I'm a completely like evolved person, but you actually have a lot of junk in your mind that you're trying to look away from. So there's the idea of that. If it comes up reversed, or if it comes up like in its jhana element and in its spread, so that could be what it's trying to tell you. But yeah, like do let me know, like because my understanding and knowledge of like the world of witches is really just like kind of fringe and just kind of like, you know, like I said, like I'm a huge tourist, but I never lived there sort of feeling. So please do let me know how you personally would relate to this card. I would really, really appreciate it. So that's your Witchy Panda. And then last but not least, we got Dream Space. So if you have the Dream Edition, this is the card that you're getting. But yeah, here we go, Dream Space. So this card I created actually completely out of the blue. I did not plan to create this card as part of the campaign. I really just decided that, you know, I really want to include this extra bonus card as a gesture of gratitude to everyone and anyone who backed my Kickstarter and who helped me bring this project into reality. So this captures my sentiment with the Kickstarter campaign. It is a space of dreams. It is dream space. It is a place of manifesting and where dreams can grow and come to fruition. So yeah, that's kind of what the little story behind this card. And some of the light attributes of this card would be dreams and imagination, right? Dreaming big, manifesting, manifesting is my next point. But, you know, imagining that sense of endless possibilities and dreaming of what could be, and really just following your dreams and dream energy, etc. And another meaning that this card could be talking about would be the idea of trust and openness, because you see this is like an open space. It's almost like you're extending your branches into the universe, and you really need to have trust and openness when you're trying to manifest something, because if you're not open, nothing can come in, right? It's like if you're a shut door, then everything that you've ever wanted could be knocking on a door, but you wouldn't open it. So it's kind of like, that's pointless. So you just have to like be open to the abundance and the amazingness that the universe has to offer. And of course, speaking of dreams, this card could also represent action and manifestation. I was just talking about manifestation earlier. So this is a great card to work with if you're trying to manifest, if you're trying to grow your dreams and make it come into fruition. Like, this is an amazing card for that, because this is what this card represents. So, and yeah, last but not least, this card also represents potential, growth, and expansion. So you can see like the panda is holding a crystal heart, has like little roots growing, and then the tree is kind of growing into like the cosmic sky. So that really symbolizes, or what I wanted to symbolize is, your heart represents obviously your heart, your vision, and who you are, what your intentions are, what you love, and everything's going to manifest and grow into this amazing tree, and it's going to keep growing, and it's going to continue growing, and it'll grow forever, and you'll be like the most amazing like thing ever. Yeah. Okay, so those are the wild cards, and I realized I did go into like further detail with the first card. I think it's because I totally just did flush it out more. Again, this blog post is available on my website, and the blog post for these 3 cards will be up soon, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks. They will be up. That is a promise, like I said. So hopefully this quick little guide is enough to get you started on working with these cards, and if you're just like curious. And yeah, look forward to the blog post, and if you have any questions or any new ways of looking at the card, engaging with the card, or what it meant for you maybe during a particular reading, and share in the comments, and tell me how it popped up, how you interpreted it, what other ideas you have. Please share, so we can all just kind of have like a little like compendium or like a collection of ideas about these cards. Like I said, these definitions are just, you know, or meanings or whatever are just my ideas. They're just for your reference and inspiration. You don't have to follow them if you don't want to. It's not absolute, so it's really whatever you, however you want to interpret them, and wherever your intuition takes you. So with that said, I will see you in my next video. I'm honestly not supposed to be active on YouTube because I actually kind of decided to not do Fables on YouTube anymore, but interestingly, when I kind of stopped, like, when I kind of stopped seeing it as, like, an obligation, I kind of just feel more free about it. I just feel like, oh, I have something to say, or I have something that I want to create, and I just make a video. So, interesting how that works. Anyway, see you next time. Bye! Thank you for watching. Ooh.